Okay, so hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar, Gain a 360-degree view of your customer for casinos and hospitality. My name is Rebecca Gill, a marketing manager at SAS, and I will be your host on today's call. Before we get started, I wanted to review a few housekeeping details. If there are any people that are having difficulty with the WebEx platform, please email me at rebecca.gill@sas.com, and I will work to ensure that you can log in. If you have any questions today, we will be taking it via the WebEx chat functionality. Please key it into the chat function to Rebecca Gill, and we will answer these questions at the end of today's session. In the interest of time, our presentation will run for approximately 45 minutes. If for some reason we do not get to your question, you may contact me directly after the webinar via email, and we will ensure that your questions are answered. Please note that today's session is being recorded, and a copy of the recording and presentation will be sent out later this week. So with that, we will get started. May you please change the slide for me? So in this session, we will cover the following topics: a summary about SAS and Qualex, challenges faced in the gaming industry, the IQ gaming data model, and the key benefits. Slide change, please. So about Qualex and SAS. Qualex is an international SAS Gold partner and the first reseller since the creation of the program. They have been awarded the Reseller of the Year many times. Qualex is the go-to partner for any installation, migration, support, and staff augmentation for SAS. At SAS, we are the leader in analytics. Through innovative analytics, business intelligence, and data management software, SAS helps customers make better decisions faster. SAS transforms your data into insights that give you a fresh perspective on your business. So today, presenting from Qualex, we have Agnina. She is the Gaming Practice Director for Qualex Consulting Services. She is well known in the gaming industry and has been designing and implementing solutions for local and international casinos for more than 10 years. So with that, I'd now like to turn the call over to her.
Thank you very much, Rebecca, for the great introduction. It has been a pleasure working with your team to put this webinar together. Good afternoon, everyone. Like Rebecca mentioned, Qualex and SAS go way back. In fact, my CEO, Mr. Clive Pearson, who is also present in this webinar, used to be a SAS employee before founding Qualex. Mr. Pearson is also the author of the book Double Down on Your Data, which talks about how predictive analytics is revolutionizing the gaming industry. I'll make sure I'll send a copy of his book to all of you today. Also with me, I have Lilian Cestari, who's the lead architect for the gaming practice at Qualex, and Lilian will be conducting a short demo of the IQ Gaming powered by SAS after this short presentation. My team and I have a deep knowledge of the gaming industry. Not only we've worked with Native American casinos, but we've also worked with major international players. In our experience, we've identified that the majority of our customers are facing the same issues that you're seeing today in this slide. Let's take Las Vegas Sands as an example, which is an American casino resort company based in Nevada. Las Vegas Sands has several resorts in the United States and Asia. You can imagine how difficult it must be for them to keep up with all their reports, their campaigns across multiple properties. That's extremely difficult. Then you run into a very famous issue, data inconsistency. We all have duplicate records, non-standard data representation, unknown data types, just data quality issues overall. And of course, these two challenges will end up taking you to the performance issues. We all know that we have the data, but it's dispersed all over the place. And we're not only talking about gaming data, but transactional and operational data as well. So this is a question that I'm going to throw to the audience. If you want, you can write up your question or just unmute yourself and you can ask it. How many of you have experienced these same issues in your property, or maybe different ones that you would like to share with us today? Okay, so we'll move on. In our multi-vendor architecture, we show you the back end of our solution. As you can see, on the left-hand side, you have the multiple casino properties, which is the same example I gave you on our previous slide with Las Vegas Sands. And then you have the main source systems that each casino property has today. This solution works by consolidating gaming and non-gaming information from all your locations and source systems. It puts it into a single repository, which is our pre-built IQ model that you see on the right-hand side of the slide, and then provides final results on reports, campaign execution, and analytics. The overall IQ gaming solution will give you a 360-degree view of your patron across all properties, so you can further enhance patron interaction, strategies, upsell your products, and improve patron satisfaction overall. Does anybody have any questions regarding this slide? Okay, let's continue. One of the benefits that we can see of this solution is what we call our rapid deployment accelerators. We have all these sources pre-built for you. So we do that heavy lifting for you, saving you not only time, but money. This is what we call a plug-and-play solution that will get you up and running within 4 months. On top of that, we will give you predictive models. All these models have been created using SAS Enterprise Miner. We have a catalog of more than 25 different models that are most commonly used in the casino. So not only you get to have the true view of your patrons, but you will be able to predict their behavior. Let me give you an example. Pearl River was initiating a marketing campaign using SAS in our IQ gaming platform, and they were surprised by the results. It showed them that not only high-value guests were the same, but actually they weren't big gamblers. They were spending their money, in fact, in other parts of the resort. At that same time, Pearl River had a big tournament coming up, and thanks to our solution, the information they received was put into good use, and they were able to fill out their tournament with the right audience. Another good example would be Harris. Harris, by using predictive analytics, was able to identify a small group who accounted for about 30% of their overall gamblers. These customers spend between $100 and $500 per trip, which actually accounted for 80% of the casino's revenue and nearly 100% of the casino's profit. Impressive, right? This slide just shows you some of the selected clients that Qualex and SAS have together in our platform. And now, let me show you a short demo of how this solution works. I'm going to pass it along to our lead architect, Lilian Cesar.
Thank you, Jimena, and thank you, everyone, for joining today. I'm going to start just giving you a quick overview of the overall database and the data model, and then we're going to get into some details. Here, you can see a relational database management system that we're using with our database. You can either use whatever relational database management system that you already have, such as SQL, Teradata, Oracle, or whatever system you feel more comfortable with. So as you can see here is the gaming database, the IQ gaming database. You can see here all the tables, and you'll know that these tables are prefixed. So we have IQ, IQC, IQP, IQH tables. The IQ are for the entire data model. Those are these that you have here. And then you have IQC, which are specific to casino systems. Then you have IQP for point of sales and IQH for hotels. Within the overall data model, you have marketing metrics. I'm going to open it up. On the marketing metrics, this is considered a real-wide table where we take the gaming data and the daily data from all players, we roll that up, and we create buckets of information. What we found over the years is that when casinos are doing segmentation, they're generally looking at different time periods. So we have them broken down into last month, as you see here, last month, last 3 months, last 6 months, and so on. When you're looking at this information, it makes everything easier for a marketer to segment out. For example, give me all the people that have been on the property in the last 6 months. If you get a value that is greater than 0, then give me all the people that have been on the property in the last 6 months and that also have total theoretical in the last 6 months greater than 100, for example. So you go here and pick the field that has that information. So you see that it makes querying a lot easier for somebody doing segmentation and setting up groups. They don't have to aggregate, calculate, and get to the number that they're looking for. The processes that we have, that we run, have already done that. So you can see this table is really wide, and we have different items. For example, the days on property, gaming days. We also break up slot and tables. And we have comps earned and use, points earned, and then we have also the number of trips that they have right here. Let me just say for trips, we're working with casinos right now where everybody is a one-day trip, if everybody is considered a local player in that sense. So we do have a way in the processes that you can, especially if you have a hotel at your property, where you can denote if somebody lives more than a certain number of miles away, then they're not considered local. If they're not considered local, then we can build a trip based on if we see a play within 24 hours, 2 rating records within 24 hours of each other, then they're part of the same trip. We can build out that trip based on a distance radius for how far someone lives from the property, and what we've seen is that for many casinos, we just set that radius to 999, for instance, so basically everybody is considered a local player, and it's just always a one-day trip. Any questions so far? Please feel free to write it up on the chat box. We do have some other type of things here, for example, the guest type right here. Are they a weekday guest, a weekend guest, their last trip date, what they did on their last trip, also the number of values for their last 3 trips. Then we have the average daily PO and the average trip PO calculation right here. And for instance, on the marketing metrics, this is an example of what we call our base table. So that's part of the standard part of our model. We also have the capability to customize it and expand them all. This is something that you can start with, and then if there is a special requirement, we'll just incorporate it. How do we do that? Well, basically, we expand the base table with extension tables. So, for example, on the marketing metrics, we have the base table, and then we have the extension table. This is where anything else that you might want to segment on, how you want to break up your groups and model scores, anything like that that you will want to put on to associate with players will be in the extension table. So you can see here, there is a number of different calculations that were customized for a particular client that wanted groups of last 10 months, last 4 months, 2 months, and so on. We also have an important table here that is the property table. And within this table, we have the casino code. You see we have the casino code for each of the properties that we bring on. Then we also have a corporate record that we'll call Corp. We actually put this in place for a client that has 7 properties. In each of the individual properties, there is a record for the person. So if you see the player ID, let's say 103, they will have a record from each individual property if they play there. There will be also the corporate record, which rolls everything up. If they went to 2 different properties on the same day, they will have one day at property A and one day at property B, but we'll roll that up to one day at the corporate level, not 2 days at the corporate, because it was all on the same day. We have the ability to do the same thing here, where if you do track your players between properties, we can tell if it's the same player who went to another property, so that person will show up here with 2 individual records for the properties and then a corporate record. Now, from a data quality standpoint, this will be a match rate. This also goes into a security of individual properties. So when we're bringing on other properties, we can control the data that's seen by the casino code essentially. Questions so far? Okay, so now let's say that you've sent out your campaign. Now you want to see how you did it. We have the campaign table here. This campaign table set up the different campaigns where we assign a code to them. There is other information that you can associate with it. Was it an email? Was it direct mail? Things like that. Then we also have all of the offer and the player group tables. Once you segment out, you build your campaign and you assign a different player to the different groups. We build all that stuff in the model here so you can see which players were in which groups and what offers they got. When it comes to historical campaign information, we've worked with clients where we've done the best to get the historical information in, but then going forward, we set up a naming convention for how they name the campaigns in the casino system with maybe some kind of coding scheme or something that we can then key in to pull the campaign information out and then tie everything together. Once we get that information in and if we develop this type of naming convention or coding going forward, if we tie all these together, then this offer response table that you see here is going to have every player, every group, and every offer that they've received, which allows you to check your response rate, how well the campaign did, what offers were redeemed, and things like that. So as you can see, we go from the marketing metrics to build the segmentation to the campaign, offers, and responses to see how well the campaign did. Now, what about if we want to get more player attributes? We have the player ID here in the offer response table. If you want to know all about the player, we have this information in the player table. So let me open this table for you. And we even have address information. So these are slowly changing dimension tables, so we can track where they move over time. Of course, most casino systems don't track that now, so probably we wouldn't have any history. But from the time we open this data model going forward, we can track maybe where a player has moved from address to address. The real big thing here in the player itself is the club level ID. Why? Because if they're changing different levels in the club, you can analyze what period of time they were at the gold level versus what time they were at the silver level type of thing. We actually have created a view that shows the current player information. I'm going to show you really quick this view. And the view includes whether or not the player is active. So, for instance, if I select here status description, I can see how many players I have under each status description. So, if you look at this view, it will tell you how the player currently looks like. On the other side, we have the rating table view that shows every single rating that a person has. So let me open it up so you have an idea. So I get here, for instance, the club level description, and I can see how many people we have on our database, and we can even see the game code and some measures like theoretical win and win-loss amount, for instance, or average bet. In our daily process, of course, we bring over the ratings, but then we calculate the totals with this table that we have here. This is basically we have game day and accounting date in this table. So the game day is, of course, based on whenever the gaming day ends, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, whatever your property has. And the accounting day is just a calendar day that you can also use, so you can use it in both ways. For instance, I have here my casino, my club level description, and then I can include, let's say, the casino name if you have multiple properties, and then we can add the win-loss amount, theoretical win, slot deal, and so on. Now, from a non-customer perspective, we have the slot accounting and the table accounting. For the effects of the demo, I'm gonna show you the slot accounting table. This is basically at the slot and the table level. This ties back at a machine detail level. So one of our goals is to be able to correlate between the machine and the players so that when your slot team goes to make a move, they could easily say, hey, let me look at who's playing on this asset. If they played 9 times out of 10 and then they move to another asset, they can analyze and identify if it's a poor performer or a good performer. So it's kind of things that you can do here. And the good thing is that we can get the asset number, like I said before. And of course, we can add whatever measures we have calculated. So this was an overview of our IQ Gaming data model from a very marketing perspective. With that said, if you have any questions, please feel free to write them up on the chat box, and I'm going to pass it to Jimena.
Thank you very much, Lilian. As you all saw, it is a very easy-to-use tool. It's very user-friendly, it's cost-effective, it's flexible, and because it's already pre-built, that for me, it's the most important thing, it saves you time and money instantly. And you can have your staff, instead of doing this heavy lifting, just be focused on additional projects you might have going on. Several of our clients have said that Qualex and SAS together has really cracked the code in the casino industry. And we have. There's no other solution in the market today that has all these ETLs pre-built. Does anybody have any questions? Rebecca? Then I'll leave it to you for the closing.
So thank you guys for that very interesting presentation, and thank you everyone for joining us on today's call. We really hope you enjoyed the session. Again, if you think of a question later that you might not have thought of during the session, please contact me at rebecca.gill@sas.com, and we will work directly to provide you answers. I would like to thank Qualex for this informative and interesting presentation, and as I mentioned earlier, I will be sending out a copy of today's session later this week. So thanks everyone, and have a great day.